And welcome back to the social media snapshot here at The Foundry. It is, after all, World Social Media Day. Thanks for joining us. Please keep tweeting. Hashtag is SMDayKE, Social Media Day Kenya, SMDayKE. I am here with Brian Munge from Safaricom, who's just joined us, Principal Officer, Digital and Social Media, Safaricom. Brian, I take it your hashtag, or your Twitter handle is?
At Munge.
At Munge, M-U-N-G-E-I. And of course, Mark Kaigwa of Nendo, his hashtag is MKaigwa. Mine is at Koinange Jeff. Please keep tweeting. In fact, let me read a couple of tweets here, because the tweets are literally coming in thick and fast. Misko Mungai says, we don't have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it. Good point. Then there's a guy who I'm hating at the moment because he's overtaken me on Twitter in terms of numbers. Named Extiandella. Wow, this man is impressive. He's got 579,000 followers. More than half a meter. Closing in on the president. He's overtaken me by a good 4,000. Good for you. He says he's here, he's present, and we're loving it. Extian, keep it up. Good stuff. Keep tweeting. Is it about numbers, Mark, at the end of the day? Because, people brag about their numbers, and we all, it's great to see you have followers and people are following you and stuff, but is it about numbers?
I don't think at the end of the day it is. I think we've seen an evolution from out-and-out numbers where people are perhaps flocking towards people who have that, and more towards where people are listening to what people are saying. So not just looking where the numbers are, but listening and saying, well, these tend to be the people who are influential for X. They can end up being people with a few hundred followers, but they're engaged, but they have maybe a global network behind them.
So it's quality, not quantity.
It's quality, not quantity. Now, sadly, we're not there yet. Let me not say we're not out of the woods. So many brands are still afraid to make that bet. So they'll hedge their bets. They'll pick a few people with numbers and then essentially hope for the best, hope for something meaty or some actual results.
Yeah. Speaking of brands, Brian, brand. Safaricom brand. You guys are very active on social media. Why?
We have to. I think it's one of those things where when we joined Facebook 2008, I think in June, that's when we first joined, we realized the uptake was really, really big in terms of guys were first of all, of course, attacking us, banning Safaricom. Oh, you guys network, my data.
And they still do that.
They still do, but it got to a point where you managed to get the conversation to a point. It's now an interaction. It's no longer an attack or an engagement. We actually sort out issues. We engage people, and they realize instead of me coming out fighting, let me first of all take my issue clearly, and I will get a response.
Do they listen, Brian? Do they listen? Because Kenyans, once they attack you, they're attacking in droves. Do you find? Do they listen after a while?
They listen. They have listened on a collective angle. Initially, I think for some of the other brands, you get on board, you find the heat is too much. Slack, we say, you know what, I will not name names, but there's some brands that think can name who came in and they were like, it's too hot for us, let's just
get off the highway.
But if you stay in there and you try and manage the conversations, you manage how you are perceived, just humanize the brand as much as possible, then yes, you get to a point where it's all about conversation and engagement. Once in a while there's always some flair, maybe triggered by something, let's say like a device data bundle the other day, but it's something. It's a way of getting instant feedback.
Yeah. Or Bob, or Bob Collymore, CEO, saying he doesn't like Kenyan food. There's a topic.
Hey, Bob.
Man, that one trended, eh? Man, Kenyans.
I think, like I said, there's something innate in Kenyans where nationhood can trump even the fiercest. We fell out, me and you, a long time ago over a hashtag or a picture or a quotation. And there's generally a freedom to agree to disagree, but in things that have some kind of national values, anything that has a value bigger than the individual, which if you think about it, it really is about that. It's about the ego. It's about, in some cases, sadly, your followers, your engagement rates, how much better are you than the next guy. So whenever there's something bigger that everybody can get behind, or they rally right behind it, and in this case it can be, it's a double-edged sword. It could be pointing it at CNN 1 minute, the next minute at Bob the Beloved in this case, and I guess he's probably a bit wiser for that.
And I guess, Brian, what Twitter and Facebook and social media is trying to say is there are no more sacred cows. Everyone is game.
Yes, there's basically, it's an open it's an open playing field. But of course, that brings back the issue of ethics. How do you handle this space that you're being given to talk and have the freedom to say what you want to say? I've been seeing an interesting tweets quote going around saying, you have the freedom of speech, but you not guarantee this freedom after the speech. So this is one of those cases. You can say whatever you want, but like Mark always says, the internet never forgets. So a year from now, if you're coming to knock at a corporate door and ask, okay, will you guys hire me? I'm looking at these interesting consultants, can you guys give me a job? And then you go back, a few months back, there you are, leading an onslaught that is uninformed, so to say. Of course, you can have your say. We don't say you don't have that, but try and get the facts, try and get the figures out, try and get something to back what you're saying. That's usually the biggest problem we have as brands, because we do try, we do make mistakes as a brand, but we always come and own up to them. I think our CEO has owned up to a few we should have had. Even some of our directors have always come up and say, okay, we apologize for that, we look at it and see how we can make it better. That's the kind of position that I think brands want. Not all of us are strong enough to come in there and say, we stay through the weather and get to that point. But the ones that stay get to find a very interesting conversation, get to get real raw data from people in how they feel about the brand.
Mark, Brian brings up a good point, because with social media comes social responsibility, and there are some cyber bullies out there, and some people who cannot stand up to a cyber bully. What does one do? So
that's actually something that historically has happened. I think one of the trends that the Nendo social media trends report picked up on was, for example, one TV show. It was one of the first examples of convergence of this global idea of what we call the second screen. The fact that if I'm watching JKL, I'm also on my phone here and I'm watching. What are people saying to you, to your guests? And as you said, you just validated it in a big way by saying you could be anybody right now, but if you tweet me, I will read your tweet. I'm Jeff Koinange and I'll read your tweet. Now, with that has also come people who have taken that power and said that for the most part, they want what often starts as humor, right? So they're going to say, oh, well,
your hair's too greasy.
Or like, hey, it's like, what's it called, the jewelry, right? And so even as far back as I think the 2009, 2010, 2011, there was, for example, on the reality singing contest show, Tusker Project Fame, there was always the show itself, and there was a hashtag called Chuki FM. And this was just literally the agreement was the gloves are off. And here you can say exactly what you want and hate all you want, because it's contained within a hashtag. Now soon people have taken those liberties and literally just accommodated them wherever they want. So people now can tweet obscenities. I'm sure if you look at the mentions of someone like, take any public figure, Barack Obama, any president, any leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, you're going to find people who are saying things that genuinely are completely out of turn, and they occupy the same space as if another sitting president tweeted Barack. So you have this, the inches are the same, but that power, as Brian said, is there. And we're seeing the courts in Kenya and certainly across the continent and the world start to take cases like that. And in Kenya, they're setting precedents around libel, around defamation, around just freedom of speech in general as relates to the internet. And even, as far as the Attorney General's office, there's, in draft form, but there's actual soon potentially legally binding laws and statutes that can be, and amendments that once passed will have an impact on what you tweet and what responsibility the government and essentially institutions have to hold that open.
Brian, the social media, has it been a game changer for you guys? If it wasn't there, would you be where you are, in other words?
No. Like I said, because of the insights, I think we joined Facebook in 2010 in Feb, and then we opened, you actually have two accounts on Facebook. We have the corporate account, the LTD, which we opened in 2010 in June, and then we have the purely customer sorting issues that we opened in Feb 2011. Like I said, we joined and then we realized there's a special attention that needs to be given in terms of supporting customers. Now we have a whole team of 1,000 people who handle customer support issues, and a big percentage of that is actually handling things online. I think the perception is most of the time if you want to reach Safaricom, just tweet them.
Right.
And they will get back to you. It just changed.
And you'll remember actually the thing with that was Safaricom was one of the first brands, credit where it's due, to take and validate this idea of what's now come to be a global discipline called social care. So,
And actually in Periscope now.
right, okay, very nice, very nice. So they're joining new social networks every day now.
What is Periscope?
Periscope is, I could actually show you. I'll show you at the commercial break.
Okay.
We can live stream a conversation, and we'll try it. You'll see there'll be plenty of people who will hop on just to see through my camera lens. Me and Jeff basically looking, saying, give us a few questions. What let's engage you. So in real time, you
so
could stream JKL essentially
On
from
Periscope.
from the comfort of your couch. If you said JKL on the bench at home, and you just you sit with your tablet and you say, okay guys, give me your questions. So and so you say this. So people do that now.
Yeah.
And that's
They
social.
interact with you in real time with the video. They ask you questions, they can post comments, and it's like a community thing. So you can see everyone who's interacting with that video.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who are these people? Don't they have jobs?
They do, and some of them, their jobs are actually to tweet on behalf of other brands or individuals. So now you actually have an entire line of business where people are getting out of schools, institutions of higher learning, and going to sit and actually do this for a
That's their living. That's it.
And they're digital natives. These are people now who don't know a day without a 3G signal, or nowadays a 4G, signal. Safaricom.
Would you call them digital natives?
They don't know a day without technology, or something with a battery that's running out, or refreshing, and something that you swipe like this. So that's literally the language.
Let me ask you both this question then. I mean, you're younger than us, but we're probably not too many years apart. What did we do before? What did we do? We went to a call box to make a phone call.
Yes. That's right.
What did we do before?
Well, now there's actually call box. You could call them graveyards, and I have a picture of one. It's lit because we skipped a whole.
There's a booth.
No, there's a whole bunch of them that have been dumped. It's a picture from the coast, and they've all essentially been taken to this place, and they're rusting somewhere. Right? Because we skipped that whole leg of connectivity. We didn't even go to the PC like the developed world did. So people didn't learn how to touch type first. They knew cyber cafes, but it's actually thanks to Safaricom and certainly all telcos and that when you have this phone in your pocket, if you think about it, I think it's crazy that when Safaricom goes on TV to tell you to tweet them, they're asking you to use a bundle to get back in touch with them to tell them what's wrong with you. It's crazy when you think about it. They actually say, and they're promising you speed and efficiency if you do that. So what's in it for them? Well, you can clearly see you'll get more familiar with social media, with data, and on the other hand, you get quick and fast service because they're assuming, well, now that you're on Twitter, we know you have a lot of stories to see, hashtags to follow, people to interact.
Just to follow up on what I think you asked me how social media has made us better as a company. The data, social data in terms of user behavior, how do customers interact with our services, how do customers behave in certain times of the year, when do you expect spikes and downloads, when do you expect a negative sentiment to pop or a positive. How do we know we are pushing out the correct services? How do we know we are engaging with the community better through our foundations? It's all about the data you can get from the community. It's just there for you to mine as a business. Mine that information, get a lot of insights that you can never necessarily get, but you can get very expensively by getting consultants to go and do it for you. But this you get it from the actual people who you want to get the people. So it's a pretty interesting space for us, and we are always trying to be at the forefront of anything in terms of digital.
Is the customer always right? Because these people who call you or the tweet and Facebook and they hate on you, do you find you have to address them? Do you have to engage them?
We handle every single mention that comes to our handles, all our social media.
And how many in a given day? Plus minus?
Let's say check.
Thousands?
More. Thousands. Because even if you look at social makers ratings, we're usually among the top 10 in terms of the Facebook queries we handle in a day. Can even get to 10,000 or more. So we have to keep responding. We always have a team 24 hours rotating.
So you can't afford to ignore?
No, you can't afford to ignore. Whether it's just a comment of saying, network,
yeah.
Any approach, we have to respond.
And Mark, that's the world we're living in now. You cannot afford to ignore that little guy out there.
Yeah, the biggest thing you can do for somebody who interacts with you on social media is acknowledge them. Now, in the case of a brand like Safaricom, they are coming under the premise that Safaricom told me. I mean, there's been billboards all over the city saying, join Twitter, that are paid for by Safaricom. So they're making an implicit promise saying, if you choose to do this, we will serve you. And serve you could be you took a picture of what you had for breakfast and sent it to us, and we're like, I could do some of that, where I am right now. But that's also saying around the brand and where they're positioning themselves, because they're thinking, okay, there was the last 5 years, there's everybody that we've got so far, but who knows anything about the next 5? And that to me, and certainly I'm sure Safaricom and you, is what interests us the most, and it's what we're constantly mining data to predict the future, and in any way we can actually create or realize.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go on commercial break, Brian, this is your opportunity to talk to us about how will 4G change things.
Okay. We have seen so many ideas being brought to the table from the different technology communities, and we have the foundry also open space for guys there to come up with great stuff. We've seen so many solutions, social impact solutions, technology solutions being put through the country in terms of whether it's for farmers and agriculture, they have to build their homes, whether it's for artists and artisans to access markets, how to get markets online, you're promoting guys to sign up on OLX or high markets, all those kinds of products. They all need connectivity that's really reliable and flexible. And one of the things we decided as a company is to go, because have 4G come up and say, how do we improve the experience when it comes to video? There are no videos only one thing. Just go to YouTube and then that's buffering.
It's buffering,
It's buffering.
Yes.
You want to change that experience. If you're downloading something, if you're uploading, like emails, you need to upload stuff. People using Google Apps. Nowadays, everything is on the cloud. Yeah. Sorting out all your documents. Slow internet at work. 4G is the way to go. And for us, we invested a lot as a company. We have invested a lot in at least rolling out in the main cities first, Nairobi first, and the are coming out later, to enable guests to have interactivity and let's say when they're collaborating at work. But nowadays there are tools where all of you log in, have a chat room, edit documents simultaneously, be able to upload it, share, do a presentation from a presentation that's posted in the cloud. You don't have to carry around your laptop all the time. You can just log into a machine and plug into all the documents.
Laptops are almost obsolete now, aren't they?
Definitely. All you need is an iPad. Just make it your stuff on there for the move. For us to allow businesses to work that fast and efficiently, for us to allow people to build themselves, and even young people, let's say you're an artist, you're a musician, you want to promote your music online, how do you upload such kind of heavy materials in a faster way to get to consume your content through all these platforms? So we are providing that.
Yeah, Mark, is that why Kenya is so attractive now? I mean, we're like London, we're like Paris, we're like New York. I mean, we are up there with...
Yeah, I think we're certainly as a technology metropolis, if you like, we've stood head and shoulders amongst other African capital cities. And I think really just to get to some of the point and the vision for Safaricom, if you think that when speed and really just the buffering, or you have no inhibition as to what you can do with the internet, then that's actually the greatest opportunity for content creators. So ideally, 2 years from now, there's somebody who could be watching this broadcast who could actually end up, all due respect, you better watch out, bigger than you, because if they choose now, thanks to LTE, so that's freed up spectrum that allows, with the Communications Authority, someone like this up-and-coming broadcaster to take a bench, not too different like this, and say they will stream their own TV channel and show. The license costs 100,000 shillings. It takes a lot to get it, but once you get it, the idea now is that you could be streaming off of Safaricom's big box. You could be streaming on a couple other TV stations. And if they come with an online audience, then in 2 years, all right, so let's even call it 700 days or less, they could actually have made a tremendous impact. So that's where we're going.
Should I quit while I'm ahead? I mean, Extian Taylor has already overtaken me in the last 3 minutes, man. I can't believe I need to quit while I'm ahead.
Start your one TV station.
That's it, online, using Safaricom.
Yes.
4G. Damn, this is great. It's a brave new world. We're going to take a break, come back, talk some more. It's World Social Media Day, guys. Happy World Social Media Day once again. We're going to keep talking. We're at The Foundry. It is a social media Snapchat. We're talking to the players in the business. How far we've come as a nation when it comes to social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. It's a brave new world. Take a break. We'll be back in a moment.